Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Shannon Morgan, who is a health services manager with EDAPT. And EDAPT, if I can say this correctly, is Elder and Dependent Adult Protection Team.
That's correct.
And your program is within the San Mateo County Health Services Department.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the organization and what you do, and then we're going to jump into the subject.
Okay. Well, the Elder and Dependent Adult Protection Team is a subset of Adult Protection Services, which is within Aging and Adult Services of San Mateo County.
Okay.
So the Protection Team is a specialized program that's a partnership between Aging and Adult Services, the District Attorney's Office, County Council Office, and law enforcement. Through the partnership, we are collaborating to see, stop, and prevent elder abuse, but with a special emphasis on financial abuse of elder and dependent adults.
Okay. So is this something that's been in existence for a while, or just sort of grew out of some findings that you were seeing on a consistent basis out of the Elder Abuse Division?
That's correct, Dani.
Okay.
It grew out of findings. EDAPT was the Elder and Dependent Adult Protection Team was launched November 2015.
Okay.
And investigators began receiving financial abuse cases January 2016.
Okay.
So we're still fairly new.
Okay. I was in the banking business way back when, and I do remember that we used to get training about what to see when folks were coming to the teller counter, if there was an elderly individual coming with a caregiver or a son or daughter, or in making deposits, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of those teachings to the community about how you see it, how you observe it, what are the things to do, what might be happening. So give us some examples of that.
So I first want to start off with a definition of what is financial abuse.
Okay.
Financial abuse is defined by the illegal or improper use of an older adult's funds, assets, or property.
Okay.
Some of the signs to look for is just what you mentioned. If suddenly an older adult is being accompanied to the bank with a loved one and they're making large cash withdrawals, that seems a little unusual than their normal patterns. Older adult who is having some unusual activity on their bank accounts. Older adult or a dependent adult who cannot explain the disappearance of their funds or their valuable possessions. Possible changes in will or other financial documents can be an indicator.
Right.
And you may have the person themselves saying, hey, I received a call from a stranger who's promising me a large, substantial amount of money, but they're also asking for my social security number, bank account number. Those are all typically red flags.
Right. And I know that there are individuals out there that actually prey on this segment of our community and feeling that they're sort of weaker and more trusting, and so all sorts of identity theft or scamming or buy this because this will help you kinds of things, or fraudulent activity can happen.
That's correct.
All over the board.
That is correct. There are a slew of scams that are occurring. Some of the common scams is a grandparent scam, where you may have an individual calling an older adult, pretending to be their grandson or granddaughter, and saying that they're incarcerated, they're facing a crisis situation where they need that person to wire or transfer money over.
Right.
There's also the sweetheart scam. It's a common scam in which a scammer will initiate contact with an individual, usually online or in person, will convince the person they're in love. And during this courtship, they will start asking for money, all in the guise of bilking the older adult out of large sums of money.
So we have two viewers that are looking at our program today, those that are the elderly adults or are active older adults, and they're saying, gosh, could that be me? And now I know what to sort of look for.
Yes.
But it also could be family members or loved ones that are saying, gosh, I have an older person in my life. What can I listen for and hear that they're telling me? Gosh, I got this strange phone call today.
Correct.
Right? And it may even be that we need to be asking and being proactive, like, hey, how did your day go today? Was there anything different, or what do we look for?
Again, what I mentioned, the usual activity, an individual who's an older adult or a dependent adult. Again, I want to give a definition on dependent adult because I'm using it so often.
Yes, please.
A dependent adult is someone between the age of 18 through 64 who may have a certain physical or mental condition that prevents them from protecting themselves or meeting their basic need. Right. Also a vulnerable population. So
we don't have to think about it as just the elderly. It is dependent populations as well.
Very much so.
Okay.
So if you have an older adult or a dependent adult who's being more secretive than usual with regards to their finances, those could be red flags. But I want to say these may be indicators that someone needs help, but it may not necessarily mean that they're being abused or neglected. It's important to take that person aside, talk to them in private, express your concerns, and attempt to gain more information. And with that information, if you still have concerns, Aging and Adult Services has a 24-hour hotline that you can call 24 hours a day to express your concerns, speak to a trusted, trained professional about the red flags, and they will be able to analyze this and tell you whether it is abuse or neglect that's occurring.
Okay.
All calls are confidential to this 24-hour line.
So imagine you're tracking this level of calls and or cases.
Yes.
Is it increasing?
Definitely. Since the launch of the protection team, abuse reports received have increased by nearly 40%. The number of financial abuse cases open has increased by more than 53%. So it is escalating.
Right.
What I believe is due to the increase is our mass public outreach and our educational training that's been occurring since January.
So part of it is the public is more aware to what to look for.
Correct.
So we're reporting more cases, but then alongside of that, there's probably more cases that are popping up as fraud and scams become more popular.
Exactly. A tidbit I have to say, although abuse reports are on an uptick, still abuse reports go unreported. Statistics show that for every one case that is reported, another 24 go unreported.
Okay.
So my hope is through the mass public outreach, educational training, that we are bringing to light the unreported cases. And I believe we're doing so.
So is there anything that we could do proactively before the actual scam happens or before the abuse happens? Can we ready our populations themselves to think about and learn about these kinds of things, like, hey, mom, or hey, son, if you get a call like this, or what can we do proactively to ready ourselves and our affected populations that this may be coming?
I would encourage viewers to go to our website to learn more information about the signs and symptoms, a little bit more about the scams and where to call if you need assistance, and just having a candid conversation with your loved one about their caretaker. If they are getting 24-hour care, making sure that they vetted this caretaker, they feel trusted, they feel that this caretaker can be trusted. Being careful about who you give your confidential information to, never disclosing your personal Social Security number, bank account information over the phone to someone that you do not know. Right.
You know, I remember having a conversation with my mom years ago, and she had an email address and received something, and she didn't get the concept that anybody could really find her email address fairly easily. So when someone sent her something, she thought it was valid because they must know her because they have her email address. And so it took quite some time to explain to her that it's fairly easy to find an email address.
Due to this day and age where everything is online, it's very easy for scammers and abusers to get our pertinent information. I would encourage people to make the call. Even if the call is not warranted, it's better to be wrong and make the call than to be right and do nothing.
So Shannon, thank you for joining us. We are out of time, and we want to make sure that we direct everyone to your website and garner some great information from your website and call, even if they're not sure that it's valid. It always is. Information is always needed. So we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.